Now, after that, we have learned what does it mean with the knowledge areas and what are the process groups and how they interact with each other. Now, there is a very important topic to cover here, which is the main processes that involved within each of these knowledge areas and the process groups. And the count here we are looking for is 49 key processes. And each of these processes belong to a knowledge area and a process group. And it covers everything from the initiation to closing a process group. And this session will focus on the overview about these 49 processes and how the 49 processes work together. So the PMBOK Guide 6th edition divides project management into knowledge areas and process groups as we've discussed. But also within these categories, there are 49 processes defined specific project activities. And these processes outline the essential tasks that the project manager must execute for the project success. Each of the process is associated with a knowledge area, what is going to be done, and what process group when it's gonna be done. So by understanding these 49 processes, project managers can effectively plan, execute, and control the project and close it finally. So the key points that we're gonna learn here is the 49 processes, which is part of the PMI PMBOK Guides, the 6th edition, and the process guide how the project is managed from the initiation to closing uh, using these processes. First, let's understand the structure of the 49 processes. So as we say that each of these processes follow structured approach here, such as each of these processes will have an inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs, which is the ITTOs. To remind ourselves what are the ITTOs, so we say that inputs are the information or documents that is required to execute the process. Tools and techniques are the methods or systems used to perform the process. Finally, the output are the results or the deliverable produced by the process. Let's take an example here to clarify this. So, if we say that we have to develop the project charter as a process, the input might be here the business case, agreements, or the project charter. The tools and techniques used here to perform the process, we use sometimes the expert judgment or facilitation techniques or meetings. Depend on each process. Each of these processes will have some unique ITTOs, and some of them may have the common ITTOs like the expert judgment, the business case, or the project management plan. And the output of developing the project charter process, which is the project charter document. This ITTO structure ensures that every process is executed efficiently and contributes to the project success. Now let's understand how the 49 processes fit into the 10 knowledge areas. So if you recall how we defined the knowledge areas and the process groups, now we are gonna explore how these 49 processes fit into first the 10 knowledge areas. So here is how the 49 processes align with the 10 knowledge area. For example, in the integration management, it has around 7 processes. For example, developing the project charter or manage the project knowledge. The next knowledge area here we have is the scope management. And the scope management has by itself around 6 processes, such as define the scope or create the WBS. The third knowledge area here is the schedule management, which holds around six processes, such as defining the activities, sequencing the activities, developing the project schedule. Next, we have the cost management, holds around four processes: estimating the cost, determining the budget. In quality management, there are three main processes, such as planning the quality, controlling the quality. Next, we have the resources, communication management, we have the risk management. So each of these knowledge areas have a key processes that is associated with it. We are gonna explore each of these process with its ITTOs in the later session in order to have a complete picture of how these processes interact with each of these knowledge areas. Now let's understand how the 49 processes fit into the five process groups. So the five main process groups that we have here is the initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and finally closing. Now let's understand how these five process groups and their distribution of the 49 processes. For example, in the initiating process group or in the initiating uh, process, we have two main processes that is associated with the initiating process group. And that is mainly defining the project, like developing the project charter, also identifying the stakeholders. So in our case, developing the project charter and identifying the stakeholder are the two key processes under the initiating process group. Next, we have planning process group, and it holds the highest number of processes with count of 24 processes, and that define how the project will be executed. For example, planning the scope management, developing the schedule, planning the cost management, planning the quality management. And there are 24 processes that, of course, we are gonna explore in detail in the later sessions of this course. Next, we have the executing process group, which holds 10 processes, and that carry out the project plan, which we have planned earlier. An example of the processes that is involved in the executing phase, such as managing the team or conducting the procurement, managing the quality, managing the risk and implementing the risk responses, for example. Also, we have in the monitoring and controlling process group, we have around 12 processes to track the performance of your project. An example here is such as controlling the scope, validating the scope, um, and another 10 processes that we are gonna discover later. Finally, we have closing. Closing only holds one process when completing the project, and that process name is close project or phase. So these are the 49 processes distributed by the five main process groups. Why are the 49 processes is necessary to ensure the project success? So the 49 processes cover every key aspect of project management and help project managers to plan effectively by ensuring a clear objectives and strategies. Also, it ensure the execution go in an efficient way by aligning the team efforts with the project goals. On the monitoring and performance, it helps to identify the risks and deviation early. About closing the project, probably that will help you. These 49 processes will help you, or will ensure that you complete the project documentation and you identify all of the stakeholder acceptance. So, understanding how to use these 49 processing increases the project efficiency and the success rate. But how the 49 processes work together? The processes are not isolated and they interact dynamically. And many processes are iterative and refined over time. An example here when having a risk management is ongoing through all of the project life cycle. And changes, for example, in one process, such as the scope changes, can affect the other processes, such as the cost and schedule and quality. Let's say that effective coordination ensures that the project constraints, including the time, cost, scope, quality, remain balanced. The iterative nature of processes. So, processes are not always linear, especially when working in such agile methodology, which adapt processes based on changing needs. So, the traditional projects, the waterfall projects, follow a structured sequence when you have the knowledge areas and you have the main process groups. However, agile and hybrid approaches use an iterative cycles when doing planning, executing, and monitoring, which happen continuously. And this flexibility in agile and hybrid projects ensure that your processes remain adaptable and aligned with the business goals. What are the common challenges in managing these 49 processes? So, large projects require a strong governance to manage multiple processes continuously. And these common challenges might arise, such as the scope creep, when you have many uncontrolled changes, also the stakeholder conflicts and budget overruns due to the inefficient process management. And to overcome these challenges, project managers must understand the process interactions with each other and adapt the strategies accordingly. So, to summarize the challenges that you might face in managing these 49 processes together, which is the complexity increases with the project size. Also, managing the dependencies between the processes is crucial. To summarize our session about the 49 processes and how they interact with each other and how they are aligned and distributed through different knowledge areas and process groups. So we say that the 49 processes, which is there in the PMBOK Guide 6th edition, are essentials for the structured project management following the waterfall approach or the traditional approach. And each process belongs to a knowledge area and a process group. And these processes interact dynamically to ensure the project success. And mastering these 49 processes helps the project managers effectively to plan, execute, monitor, and close the projects, ensuring at the end of each of the project the successful project delivery.